Hello friends. So this is the part 6, or you can say the video number 6 of chapter 1 of exchange rate and forex business. So in this chapter we are going to study what is the dealing room operation, that means forex dealing room operation, and various risks involving in forex business. So let us see. Forex dealing room operation is basically divided into three parts. Number 1 is called forex dealer. And forex dealer is nothing but the person who sit in the front, or you can say front office. Normally, it is not they sit in the front. It's just like our bank, where the officer and other staff they sit in the front counter. Okay. And second one is called the back office, and in between there is also called the mid office. So forex dealer means the person who are basically involved in service branch, involved in servicing of the requirement of the customers of other branches. Okay. And they also buy or sell foreign currencies. They manage foreign currencies, they manage assets and liabilities, and they also manage the nostro account. And they also undertake the property trading in currencies. So this is main profit center for the bank or some institutions who are dealing in the forex. That is why the forex dealing room operation is very, very important for the forex dealers. Okay. And dealers who are actually involved in buying and selling of currencies or undertaking market activity are the most critical manpower, as their understanding of the job, their risk taking capacity, and their speed in decision making all may lead to generate profit for the daily operation. And if they are not careful, all may lead to loss. On the other hand, we can say that small mistake or misjudgment may wipe out the entire day's profit in a second, because you know that the forex rates are changing every 4 seconds. Okay, so they have to be very, very careful. Okay, now a good dealer needs to have a good understanding of changing nature of the things. He must have ability to work under stress. He must have willingness to accept responsibilities. He must have ability to make decision very, very quickly. He must have good measurement of aggressiveness, and above all, willingness to recognize that one can be wrong also, because sometimes the decision of the forex dealer may go wrong also. So sometimes not only that, every time they are earning the profit, sometimes they may incur the loss also. Okay, so this is the main role of the forex dealer. Now, other part of the dealing room is the back office. What is the role of the back office? It take care of the processing of the deals, maintenance of accounts, reconciliation of the accounts. And this function is of equal importance, because any laxity in this area would also land in the institution into unforeseen trouble, because they are maintaining the records. We can take examples of our account opening form. Okay, the front office person who is sitting in the counter, he can just collect the form, but processing is done by the back office. Okay, so that means this is the role of the back office. So hence, back office has both a supportive as well as checking role, because they are checking the documents. Okay, we might have seen our, no, when we take our credit forms, various forms. So somebody is sitting at the back, they keep on checking the form. Okay, this is the mistake, this is the mistake, the customer has not signed here. So this is the role of the back office. Okay, now coming next, mid office. Okay, so mid office deals with the risk management. Mid office deal with the risk management is very, very important. Okay, and parameterization of risk for the dealing room operation, including forex transactions. So basically, their act is to check over the risk taken by the dealers, as also supplement them to given market information. So what is the role of the mid office? mid office because they remain always constant touch with the market. So they keep on collecting the information of the market and they keep on passing to the front office. Okay, one more role of the mid office, that compliance and guidelines. This question came in the last examinations. What is the role of the mid office? Compliance of various guidelines, instructions issued by the various agencies like RBI. Okay, so various RBI and SEBI is there, RBI is there. So they are always in touch with the various rule regulations and they carry out the compliance. They also remain in touch with the market so that what is the market condition of the, so that immediately they can pass information to the front office dealers. Now moving ahead, the forex dealer has to maintain two positions. Okay, so two positions are here. Number one is the fund position and number two is the currency position. So fund position, currency position, the fund position reflects the inflow and outflow of the funds. What is the meaning of this? That means all receivable, all payable. Okay, bill receivable and bill payable. So you have to see here what is the basically difference between the fund position and currency position. Currency position on the other hand deal with the overbought or oversold position arrived after taking various merchant and interbank transactions. So in a nutshell, I just said, tell you, currency position is the actual currency in your hand. Okay, like dollar, dollar, euro, Great Britain pound, and that currency you must have as per the different limits. Okay, like you must have having overnight limits. So whatever currency you have in your hand after the day end, that is called your currency position. Okay, various checks and balances are there, various limit has been set by the RBI, so we have to follow that. Whereas in the case of the fund, so fund also include various receivable and payable. Okay, and any mismatch in the receivable and payable will throw open interest rate risk. We'll deal with the risk after this in the form of possible overdraft interest in nostro account or loss in interest income on surplus credit balance. Okay, we'll deal with this risk, so we'll understand after that. Okay, so what is difference between fund position and currency position? So currency is basically the dealing of the currency. Okay, I took example like dollar, euro, Great Britain pound, various currencies are there. So whatever position you are maintaining, that is called currency position. And whereas the fund position, it involve everything, means receivable and payable also, including currency plus receivable and payable also. This is called fund position. Now, major risks associated with the dealing operations. There are various risks, and we have to go through. This risk in the first is difficult to understand, so just go through. You can see video 2-3 times, and this risk you will be dealing in whole book of the BFM. Means will come across this risk many times. So you have to go through. You have to try to understand. In the first time you are not understanding, no problem. You can understand the second time. Because I also when I was reading, so it took me at least 5-6 times to understand what is the various risk involved in the forex dealing. Not only forex dealing, in other chapters also various risks are there, and these risks are so interlinked, so you'll get always confused. So don't worry, just read it, see the video, and slowly you will come to know what are the risks are there. Okay, so we'll see one by one. Number one is the operational risk, number two is the exchange risk, number third the credit risk, and next is the settlement risk and liquidity risk, and next is the gap risk. And not only this, moving ahead, rate risk is there, that is called exchange rate risk, and market risk is also there, legal risk is there, systemic risk is there, country risk is there, and sovereign risk is there. So we'll see one by one. We'll try to understand Okay, so don't worry if you're not understanding at one time. I will take examples also to make it more clear. So coming first, number one, the operation risk. So operation risk is arising on account of human errors, technical fault, infrastructure breakdown, faulty system, and procedure or lack of internal control. I'll take example of what is human error. When we work in the bank, we see sometime we enter the wrong number, okay, or sometime we enter the wrong name of the customer. Sometime we enter the wrong date of birth of the customer, and sometime what happen, we enter the wrong Aadhaar number also. Okay, so this is all called human error, and it will go without notice. So this is called the human errors. Similarly, technical faults. Okay, means your system breakdown, means sometimes you might have seen, no, your server is not working, or server is very slow. You are not able to fetch the data. So these all are called operational risk. Infrastructure breakdown, like some flood is there. Okay, power breakdown is there. So these all comes the operational risk. And next is called the exchange risk. So exchange risk is the most common and obvious risk in foreign exchange, because the rate of the forex keep on changing every 4 seconds. Okay, and market is so volatile, because and there's no control of the various governments. So this is a very common risk in the forex exchange dealing operation, and this risk rise basically on account of fluctuation of exchange rate. I told you fluctuation exchange rate so volatile, and when there is mismatch occur in asset liabilities and receivable payable. What is the role of exchange rate in bill assets and liabilities and bill receivable and payable? Because the rate keep on changing, so whatever asset and liabilities you are maintaining, because rate are changing, so your asset and liability will also change. Let us suppose that I'll take example. After 1 month, you are going to receive some 100 crore dollar. So that become your asset. Okay. So, but after 1 month, you are seeing the rate of the dollar is changing. Okay, rate of the dollar, that means spot rate of dollar is going down. So what will happen to asset? Asset will go down. So when your asset is going down, that means your profit is going down. Okay, so this will happen to the mismatch in asset and liabilities rate. So this is called exchange rate. Okay, I'm trying to make you understand by taking example. So you can think over like this. That means this is the exchange risk. Number third, credit risk. This is also very common. We also face this credit risk while dealing with the customer, and will give credit to customer. This risk also arise. So this risk is basically due to inability or unwillingness of the customer or counterparty to meet the obligation at maturity of the underlying transaction. Here we are dealing the underlying transaction. You can think over that when you have given the credit to the customer, you are extended loan to the customer, but your customer is not paying EMI in due date. Okay, he may be having capacity or he may not be having capacity, but you are not getting that underlying transaction on maturity. That is called credit risk. Okay, and credit risk can be divided into two parts. Number one is called pre-settlement risk, and number second is called settlement risk. So as name says, pre-settlement means before the date of settlement. Before the date of settlement, if you came to know, the particular customer is not going to pay back, then what will happen? It will expose you in the market, because in future, if you are getting $100,000 from the customer, but customer is not going to pay, then you have to recover this loss. Okay, because you have to sustain in the market. So this is called pre-settlement, means before the date. Okay, let's say the due date is 30th November. Okay, but you came to know that the party is not going to pay in 15th November. You came to know, this is called pre-settlement risk, and you have to manage your customer, because you will expose in the market. The market will come to know that you are not getting this dollar. So it is involving the risk means it will expose you in the market in ongoing market rate. Okay, this is the called the, so you have to cover yourself. You have to cover yourself on ongoing market basis. Number second, as the name says, settlement risk. Okay, so that means this risk is due to the zone differences, time zone differences. Means like if in India market is going to be closed, it is 5 o'clock, then you will see that USA after 1 hour market is going to be open. So settlement will not take on that particular day. So the settlement will take after 1 day or 2 days. And sometimes if one holiday is coming in between, Christmas holiday is coming in between, so that risk is also there. So settlement risk is very, very common in forex business. So we have to be very, very careful. And next risk is called liquidity risk. Okay, this risk is also very, very common in banking sector also, because this is the actually the mismatch in assets and liabilities. Okay, whatever assets we have, means whatever loan we have extended to the customer, and liabilities, whatever deposits, that means whatever customer we have deposited maybe in the current accounts, second accounts, or term deposit, these are called the liabilities to the bank. Okay, and these assets are managed out of liabilities only, because banks, they don't have their own fund. They extend the loan to the customer on the deposits of other customers. So we have to match. There should not be any mismatch in the assets and liabilities. Otherwise, how you'll meet this requirement? If sometimes what happens, if you have extended the loan to the customer, but you find that the 100 customer they are coming and taking their deposits, then how will you match? So this is called the liquidity risk. So liquidity risk is nothing but the potential for liabilities to drain from the bank at a faster rate. Okay, that means liabilities are moving away. So liabilities are decreasing. So if liabilities are decreasing, how will you meet your asset? So this is called the liquidity risk. So there has not been that means there should not be any mismatch, okay, between asset and liabilities. Next, gap risk or interest rate risk. So interest rate risk are the risk arising out of the adverse movement of implied interest rate. Means this gap risk or interest rate risk is due to the adverse movement in implied interest rate or actual interest rate differential. So you must be thinking, what is implied interest rate? Implied interest rate means this is the future interest rate. Means whatever the interest we are charging or we are paying, that is called spot. Okay, in future means forward interest rate. Okay, so forward interest rate and spot rate, whatever the difference is, that is called the implied interest rate. So if the adverse movement of implied interest rate is there or adverse movement of actual interest rate is there, this is called the interest rate risk. Okay, I'll just take one example here. That means in a course of business, a bank buys and sells currencies for spot and forward values. It may not be always possible for the bank to match the forward purchase and sales. Thus, if purchase and sale takes place for different value date, while the bank may completely stand hedged on the exchange front, it creates a mismatch at future date between the assets and liabilities, which is called as a gap. Okay, so that means because bank always try to give less interest on its deposits. Okay, that means whatever deposit they have received from the customer, so that is called the liabilities. So bank always try to pay less in liabilities and always charge more interest on the assets. So if this gap is there in future, if rate of interest is going down in the assets, so naturally it will affect the profit of the bank. Okay, now moving ahead, market risk. This is risk which arises out of the adverse movement of the market. You might have seen many times the rate of this commodity is going up or rate of this commodity is going down. Okay, if bank is maintaining some position like in dollars, 1,000 crore dollar bank is maintaining position, but if the market value of the dollar is going down, so what will happen? Naturally, the market risk is there. Okay, and so bank has to play a very quick role in exit from that position. Okay, so that the market risk is very much minimized. Next, legal risk. So legal risk is arising on account of the non-enforceability of the contract against the counterparty. Sometimes what happen? No, we are not able to force that. We have gone a contract with the customer, but if customer is not obeying the contract, we are not able to enforce him to follow this contract. So that is called the legal risk. Okay, this will happen. The contract, if you are making one customer sitting in the Bangladesh and you are making contract with him, if you are not obeying, so you will face difficulty in enforcing the contract because the customer is from the other countries. Okay, so this is called the legal risk. Systemic risk is the very common, but nowadays various guidelines issued by the RBI, this loss has been minimized. Okay, so systematic risk means failure of one bank leads to failure of other banks or other counterparties. That means they have the reverberating effect on the banking sector. I'll just take one example. Let's say A has given some loan to B bank, B bank has given loan to C bank, and C bank has given loan to D bank. If B is not paying, A has given to that. If last party like D bank, D is not paying to C, then C will not pay to B, then B will not pay to A. So what will happen? That means the failure of only one bank will lead to failure of other bank. So this is called reverberating effect. Reverberating means all over, means they are interdependent. That's why RBI is trying that no bank in India should fail, because if one bank is failing, this will lead to failure of other banks also. Okay, because all banking sector, they are intermingled so much. That means failure of one bank will have the result, failure of all the result of loss to the other bank. Okay, I will answer the banking sector because our banking sector is very robust. Okay, all banks are very much robust. They will not fail, but naturally they will result in loss. Okay, so this is called systemic risk loss. Systematic risk, sorry. Now next is the country risk. So country risk is the risk of counterparty situated in different country, unable to perform its part of the contract or obligation. Even the counterparty is willing to do, but due to some local government regulations or some political issues or some economical instability of the country, the counterparty is not able to perform its obligation. That is called country risk. I'll take one example here. Let's say your one customer in the Sri Lanka. Okay, but Sri Lanka government have put some restriction that okay, now henceforth no payment will be made in dollar. Okay, you have undergone the contract. Okay, after 1 month I will receive some $1,000 from that party, but due to some its own problem or due to some own forex problem, the Sri Lanka government has put some restriction. Okay, so this is called the country risk. Even the customer is willing to pay. Customer is willing to pay. I am ready to pay, but due to some government, maybe some local condition or some state government has put restriction, or due to some political issues or some economical instability of that country, customer is not able to meet its obligation. That is called country risk. Now sovereign risk. This country risk and sovereign risk, people get confused. So I'll explain here what is the difference. Sovereign risk is the risk involving the overall country. Means whole of the country's failure. Like you can take example of recent Afghanistan. Okay, so whole of the forex business of the Afghanistan has gone down. Okay, they're not having forex to pay. Okay, and no country is giving the loan also. They're not extending any fund based facility. So this is called the country risk. Now means if you do any business with Afghanistan, you will not able to get back their money. Okay, this is called the tsunami is the failure of the whole country. Okay, whereas the country risk is not the failure of the country, it is due to some restrictions, some local government, some political issue, but your customer is willing to pay. This is called country risk, and sovereign risk is the failure of entire system of the country. So this is the difference between the country risk and the sovereign risk. So with this, we'll finish our video. We'll meet in the next video. Please stay tuned with me. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.